Hi, I'm Shel Downing with Compass, and today we're talking about one of my favorite subjects, and that's staging. Staging is my forte. I'm going to tell you some stories of how I've used staging as a strategy to get homes sold. Back in the day when I first started in real estate 17 years ago, I would go buy things, load up my car. Sometimes my kids would go, "Mom, what happened to the big mirror?" And I'm like, "It's going to be gone for a little while." And I would take it and put it in the houses that I staged. Or different items would come and go out of my house for staging. It was a lot of fun for me. I don't do it as much physically myself anymore. There's companies that can do it better than I can, and I consult clients in that. Sales is a very emotional thing. It's a very sensory experience. When people go to buy a home, it's their feeling. And I understand how it's very emotional. So we want the smells to be right. We want a wow factor when they walk into the home. We want to accentuate the beauty of the home and the things that other people are going to fall in love with. So for me, it's like throwing a party, and you want everything just right, and or you want to make the most of what you have, and that's what we do with staging. It's caused a lot of success for my clients when we've used it. One example is I remember a house that I was the second or third realtor on, and often I am the second or third realtor and I get the job done, and I kind of pride myself on that. I'm passionate about it, and sometimes the house wasn't staged before, and the clients realize, and I tell them, "You've got to stage it." I've had realtors come in that have seen that house before, and they say to me, "Did you change all the light bulbs?" And I'm like, "No, it's just what we might have done with the paint or the colors," and it can totally change the experience of the home. So you want, through staging, to create an experience where people can fall in love. So it's kind of romantic. Good staging is not a one-size-fits-all deal. Some stagers who are not that professional have the same thing, and they go in and do the same thing in every home. Just yesterday, when I met with a stager on a listing I have, we're working as a team, and she's asking me, "Who do you think is going to buy this home?" And so we start discussing the potential buyers for that particular home. So we're going to stage to appeal to the buyer for that home. Also, staging changes for the trends of each neighborhood. The neighborhood in LA, some of the neighborhoods are going to be maybe a little more funky, a little more hip. There's some other communities that might be a little more traditional, family traditional. So the staging needs to fit the trend of the times. It needs to fit the home, the neighborhood, and the buyer. That's good staging. Staging makes you money. I'm going to use a story to illustrate this point. I could give a lot of stories, but one of my favorites was a seller who came to me from the East Coast. She was living in the East Coast. She had an investment property here in Pasadena, and it was a penthouse suite. And it was right across from the metro, so a lot of working people were in the building. It was very mid-century modern. When she remodeled it in a more traditional style. There were tall windows that went up to the ceiling, high ceilings, and she put in some very expensive, thick drapery that was kind of a heavy gold color, and she did a lot of burgundy and olivey green, and put in wood floors over the epoxy floors. It was lovely, but it wasn't that appealing to the kind of market and buyer for that area. So when I asked her, "How much would you like to get for the property?" she said, "I want $1.25 million." And I knew the comps, and I knew the last sale in that building that was a penthouse suite was just 3 months prior at $750. That's a big difference. So I told her, I said, "We can't get $1.25 million. And I said, "How much, what's the lowest you're willing to sell this for?" She said, "I have to get $1 million." And I revisited the comparables, and I said to her, okay, I think I can get you $1 million if you do what I suggest that you do. So we began to refresh the whole property. We painted the walls that were a yellow gold, and we took down the draperies. Some of that was painful for her. We did make a decision not to pull up the wood from the floors, and the under the floors was epoxy, kind of a gray, you know, it really went with that vibe. But we decided not to spend that cost. The floors were in good condition, not to spend that time. But we could tell the buyer that's there. If they want to pull the floors up, then they could have that. So that's an example of how we work together, you know, and make some choices. And then we staged it just very fresh, not too funky, but very classy, but very fresh. The outdoor space up on the balcony was just like amazing. And so we staged that with some different settings overlooking the city of Pasadena. And guess what? We got $1 million. And I was very proud of that. I think when it sold, it was about 4 months after the last sale that was $750. So the seller was happy. We were able to achieve what she was wanting to do. So that's a great example of that. I'm really excited to now be able to offer staging to all of my clients through Compass Concierge. I told you that staging has been a forte for me throughout my career, giving my sellers an advantage in selling their homes. But not everybody has the funds to do the staging. There's different reasons that they may not have the funds. With trusts and probates, there may not be the funds available. Some clients, their assets are not liquid, and so they don't have the cash until they have the sale. So what Compass is doing for sellers is giving them the money up front to do the staging, and then they pay it back through escrow through the sale, and they make more money, and so it's easier to pay that way. So I'm very excited to be able to offer that to all my clients, and so please give me a call for a consult, and I can talk to you about staging your home, and we can consult with different stagers and give you that advantage in your sale.